And here we have Minecraft Dungeons. Been wanting to talk about this one for a little while now. It's pretty... It was highly anticipated, I would say, for Mojang to do something a little different with their IP. So this is really well done, actually. Looks great. Controls are spot on. I've gotten some good experience playing it, as you can see, like level 42 already. Get to play around with a lot of the different aspects of items and weapons and what they can do, all the special abilities, sub-abilities of the weapons. So here you have a little camp where you can test out weapons. And then you got your ranged guy there. The Wandering Trader, which comes in... I'm trying to remember when that guy came in, actually. I mean, you start with the Blacksmith, and then the Wandering Trader comes in after you do a few of the levels. And some of the missions. And overall, this is a really cool little starting area. You know, there's a few pots and stuff that's littered throughout the little town here that you can unlock and get some emeralds. Emeralds being your main piece of currency up in the left-hand corner there for getting random gear, and the Wandering Trader will give you artifacts, random artifacts. But just to be fair, sometimes, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm constantly getting the wind horns, like all the time. I'll complete a mission, and then at the chest you get at the end of the mission, I keep getting wind horns. For some reason, it's kind of annoying. So if I was to, let's see what I get. Okay, Boots of Swiftness, which I never really use. So, your general inventory screen is really well laid out. It's basic, easy to use. You have your list of items here. A lot of it you're going to be selling common stuff, uniques, and your rares. Rare stuff can be pretty good. I mean, if you like this sword, for instance, does have two enchantments attached to it, to which you can mess around. You can click on any of the weapons, and and you can overview which enchantments might be best suited for your gameplay or to the strategy of how you want to play the level. Sometimes I like to try and keep a good balance of ranged strength and or ranged power along with the melee as well. And healing is going to be important. With my current, like with this setup here, I have this auto crossbow, which fires really fast. With the multi-shot attached to it, it's crazy. It does, 40% triggers a lot, and the chain reaction is pretty neat, because then it shoots the same it shoots the same arrows in all directions, the same damage. And the sword that I have on. With thundering is nice. The lightning strike does hit one person, then it'll travel through multiple mobs. And radiance is really nice to have. It does proc quite a bit, and it's great for healing not only yourself but people around you. I was surprised at how much it went off. Typically on weapons I was always using this. I was looking for weapons that had leeching, because that's a really good one to have for when you're low on health and you need to heal. And weakening is also a really good one. So this is a good combination to have on this sword here. Weakening and leeching. Swirling it's okay. But when you're surrounded by like, 50, there can be a lot of enemies on the screen at once, and if they swarm you, you can't get out. You can't like dodge past them. You can actually get pinned. So you're going to definitely want the ability to heal quite frequently in this, because you can get overwhelmed pretty fast. The scythes are okay. They have a kind of a basic 1-2 combo, but you can, if it has the right enchantment, you can upgrade that to a swirl attack or spin or whatever. And generally they have a lower damage than some of the other weapons. And I just picked up this Eternal Knife, which isn't bad. It has kind of a slower attack, but it does really high damage. I was going to hang on to it just in case. And it has some decent enchantments on it. Fire Aspect is a really good one. Lights enemies on fire for a damage over time effect. And it also has Radiance. So if I was to use this, I'd probably put Fire Aspect and Radiance on it. And there's also pets in this game too. So there's an armor that you can pick up, which gives you a bat familiar that does damage to enemies, and that bat is actually invincible, can't die. There's also the Tasty Bone, which summons a wolf pet for you. And depending on the power level of the artifact is what's going to dictate how much damage it does. So there's 110 damage on this one, and there's also a llama pet that comes with the wheat, and so far those are the only 3 pets that I know of in the game, so I haven't come across any yet. The llamas are actually, I prefer the llamas over the wolf. The wolf kind of runs into battle and gets killed pretty quickly, even though it does do a lot more damage than the llama, but the llamas have much higher health and they stay back and they're ranged and they spit at mobs. So when I first started playing the game, I had two llamas actually, and I think I had my soul healer, which is great. When you defeat mobs, their little souls fill it up, and then you can get an extra heal in addition to your left bumper for your potion, and that's got a longer cooldown time than some of the other stuff. That's why when you're overran and you need to really heal, it's hard to just rely on that potion. So it's nice to have an additional healing device, item, artifact, and that's why I like the soul healer. And the totem of regeneration is really nice too, as well. Once you get into the higher difficulties, you definitely need some of these healing artifacts and some healing and defense on enchantments. Now on armor, this ability right here has saved me so many times. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but when you see it working in effect, the snowball is like so overpowered. It stuns every enemy, and you can have a snowball triggering every second. You can just stand there and just sit there, and it'll just keep stunning the closest mob to you. This is great because you can, if you have like an archer or something shooting, or you see one in the distance and run at it, normally they're going to try and shoot you, but once you're within range, the snowball will stun them right away, and you can get in there close and melee any of the archers. So that comes in. It's probably one of the best abilities I come across, so I use it, or I try to find armor that has this enchantment all the time. And deflect is great too, because there's certain levels where you're just overran with archers, just tons of them, and this having a 60% trigger chance is just, yeah, it's priceless to have on your armor. So I've already beaten the game and unlocked the next difficulty for adventure. So you've got your default that you'll run through first, and that usually takes, oh, I think I finished it in around a level 20, I would say, 20, somewhere in between 20 and 25. I did replay a level or two just to get specific gear that I wanted to press on and upgrade a few things before doing the last stage, which is here, the Obsidian Pinnacle. But I generally liked, my preference anyway, for gear and weapons were Desert Temple and Fiery Forge, mainly because Desert Temple has the glaives, and those are nice, 3-hit combo, and they got nice range to them. And there's in this level there is a chance that the boss will, or a chest will drop a venom glaive, which is a really nice unique weapon to have. Short bows are good too. Not really a fan of the thief armor. And that's really all I cared about out of this stage, was the glaive. The mystery armors are, they're okay. Not my favorite. Fiery Forge does have some great loot. The cutlasses are nice. The great hammers, there's a chance for the thundering hammer to drop in this stage, and that's an awesome weapon to have, because it already has the thundering effect, lightning effect enchantment built into the weapon. Power bows are great, and reinforced mail, plate armor, and the mercenary armor are all great armors to have, plus the scale mail. And there's also the flaming quiver, which is also really awesome to have. Let me cut to some previous footage of when I was using the venom glaive and a crossbow called the harp crossbow, and it gives you an idea of just how insanely powerful you can be with different combinations of enchantments. So check this out. So this is the venom glaive. It's one of my favorite weapons in the game, and this particular one happened to have two awesome enchantments with it. So not only does the venom glaive have a proc of poison cloud, but this one also had fire aspect and weakening, which weakens a large portion of the mobs in front of you when you hit. So that was 3 different things proccing at the same time. And then I'm also showing off what the harp crossbow can do. So the harp crossbow shoots 5 arrows, and I also had an enchantment on it where it would do multi-shot, splitting each arrow again, making it 10 arrows, and then on top of that I had the split, or the extra shot, where you had a chance for those arrows to turn into more arrows. So as you can see, I back off a little bit and really shoot, and then turn on the fire, the fire quiver, of course, which is really awesome. And this is the redstone mines. It's a great place to go if you wanted to farm XP a little bit, level up, because they have the spawners in this stage. So there's just lots of these, tons of mobs coming at you. As you do get further in the game, in the higher difficulties that you put it on, and those spawners, I believe, there's more. Because I was sure running into like 2 next to each other, and I just wasn't seeing that in the earlier game. then there's a higher chance of the mobs, any of the mobs that have armor on, they take a lot more, you know, to defeat. So this boss will definitely go down pretty quick with just go all out on it with the bow. Just get some melee hits in there. It's funny because the redstone golem here is the main boss for this level here. But in the later levels, like towards the end, they're just regular mobs that come after you, but they're still really tough, but yeah, there is one stage where you'll run into quite a bit, taking 2 on or 3 on at the same time, depends on how much you run around and gather enemies. So yeah, this was my favorite combination of weapons, the harp crossbow and the venom glaive. It's just awesome, as you can see. So many arrows. Just pushing them over the edge.
So the rumors were true. The Illagers are building a dreadful forge under the mountain.
Alright. I guess we'll go back to the mission select screen. Okay. Here we'll play through one of the stages and show off some of the combat and the interface. Let's see. Yeah, we'll go with normal difficulty for this. It'll be just fine. Yeah, Soggy Swamp's got an interesting boss at the end. It definitely gave me a hard time the first time I played it.
Sinister swamp. They conjure up all manner of brews to empower the Arch-Illager and his ever-growing army. If you don't find and defeat those witches, the Illagers will be unstoppable. But tread carefully. The swamp is home to
it's a pretty
many
basic
horrors.
storyline where the Illager, he has control of a magical staff and he's trying to take over the lands. It's funny, once you get to the end stage, you know, and you're bound to fight him. I mean, that's the whole point of the game. But the outcome was unexpected, but really cool. So here's what I was talking about before, was the snowball going off every second, just hitting mobs, just stunning them constantly. It's such an awesome effect, or an enchantment to have on your armor. So yeah, so your basic combat, you have I use A for your basic attack. You can hold it down. You don't need to just sit there and press the buttons and wear your thumb out, which is nice. You just hold it down and it's going to hit the closest enemy to you. So you don't have to use any directional. Unless you really want to. If you decide to shoot an arrow in between your hits. Now with this sword, I have Thundering and Radiance, and you'll see that's Radiance, and it procs a lot quite a bit. Enough to definitely save your ass in a pinch. So there's also which is pretty common in these like top-down, third-person Diablo-style games. This one you can activate the little map overlay on your character. What would be nice is that you could control like how you can see it or how visible it is. I'd like to make it a little less visible over the character, so sometimes you can get pretty lost in the levels, or if you just want to explore, I mean, you have that little arrow at the top of the screen that's telling you where to go, but sometimes you're not always paying attention to it because there's a lot of action going on. And just to see, there's another nice armor enchantment that goes off. Let me see if I can get it real quick. Gotta get rid of these witches. Because man, they get annoying later, shooting, throwing potions at you. Alright, so I'm going to try not to shoot too many arrows. The idea with this auto shooting crossbow is that I'm going to save up my arrows for the end boss and just unload, because this thing shoots so fast that you'll run out of arrows pretty quickly. So if I get up to about 300, 400, it should be good to go for the end boss. You can also roll in this game. You can still get hit. You can't roll through enemies, so you have to find spots between the enemies to roll. That's why you can get pinned in corners really easily if you're surrounded by a lot of mobs. There's also a chance of mobs dropping random potions. The one I just picked up was speed. It affects your run speed and your melee. There's another one that affects your strength. And you'll hit a lot harder. So that once there's a path that's going in the opposite direction of the arrow, it's sometimes you can find treasure chests or emerald pots to bust. So it's good to, try to explore the levels, because you never know what you'll run into or find. So there's those little circular faces that come at me, and I'm collecting souls. So down at the bottom, there's another bar that's underneath my artifacts that shows how many souls you have, and you can use any artifacts that require souls to use. See, like right there, I just used my soul healer. And food helps too, but sometimes it doesn't always drop when you really need it to. And TNT blocks, they're pretty devastating. You definitely don't want to be within range of those things when they go off. Yeah, there is also, I forgot to say, with the roll, when you roll, there is a bit of a cooldown for when you can go back to walking, moving back to normal speed. Just activated my fire quiver there, which is also really nice. I like the fire quiver. There's a soul one, which is cool because it can shoot through walls with arrows, but it doesn't do as much damage as the fire quiver. Yeah, see how that snowballs is crazy. That dude can't even get close to me without it going off. And then I also have the totem of regeneration, which is just plop down like that. Regen you, but I don't really need it right now. Another nice thing is while you're holding down your attack button, you can stay locked in your position so you can rotate your left control stick. And what else is really cool is that the enemies will have like a red outline on them according to the one that you're focused on. See, like that creeper there, and then I can turn and face him. It's good for when you're shooting arrows. It's weird, did I miss this cauldron way over here? When I first came in the area, I guess. So, let me see if this skeleton can hit me or shoot an arrow without me. Come on. Shoot. Yeah, see, there's the deflection on the armor. Deflection. It's really awesome to have, because and at 60%, you can't go wrong. Oh, Enderman. Always enjoy these guys. Oh, come on. It's supposed to appear behind me. That's a first. He dropped a unique. Nice bow, actually. We have to check that one out later. Yeah, the interface and the layout of the abilities is it's really good. I mean, it's super easy to get used to right off the bat, especially if if you already played these games or you haven't played these games, this style game before. Everything's responsive. I haven't rarely ran into any kind of glitches or bugs or anything like that. I think one of the downsides is that people might complain that, oh, the game's too short, and yeah, I mean, I agree, but then again, this is a really well-made game for, $19.99 for paying $20. You'll probably beat it. I mean, it took few hours, 4 hours, 5 hours maybe. It depends on how thorough you are that you're gonna go through this and beat it for the first time. But where the replay value really comes into play is the variations on your gear and all the different, the way you can customize the way you battle with your enchantments on your weaponry. That's what makes it really fun to mess around with. Makes the replay value a lot better and makes you want to see more of what the game has to offer, because in the later levels with the gear you do unlock new enchantments. Like the power ones, you don't see those until later, which is like on this sword here, like Radiance is not a common enchantment, it's a powerful enchantment, so you start to see those more often. Damn snowball. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm not gonna do a whole lot of exploring. I'm just gonna kind of get through the stage here. You really gotta take care of those witches first. They can become quite a nuisance if you let them live. I guess in the meantime we can put the tasty bone on here. Summon the wolf. You can see what that does. Yeah. That's about it. That's what the wolf does. It's got high damage, but it gets killed too quickly. But with Radiance being on a melee weapon, and as long as it stays near you, Radiance will heal your pet. So that's nice too. Oh shoot. Get back, get back. And I think Totem Regeneration also heals, I think. I put it down to see if it would work, but freaking Radiance just keeps going off, so I can't tell. I have yet to run into a higher power llama artifact. So that'd be nice to have. I mean, I only had the llama artifact at level 11 and 12, and haven't seen one drop since. Nice. Get lots of arrows. I will just kind of use some here and there too. I mean, as long as I have about 400 or something, I can really unload on the boss. What was that? Oh. Didn't even know there was a guy over there. Alright. More arrows. Yeah, I think we're getting there. Now there he goes. Freaking potions. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of that. Take the tasty bone off. Ah! Yeah, that's another thing I forgot to mention, is that when you're in your menu, the game is still going. So you have to kind of move to a safe spot if you plan on using your menu. Jeez. That's a lot of witches down there. That was weird. Fell off the bridge. It's good timing getting that strength potion. Yeah, at least there's no, like, height restriction on the levels here. Like, if I'm on this bridge, then I would be able to shoot at enemies below me or above me. Here's the boss. See what I mean? Yep, that is the auto crossbow. With these 2 enchantments on it. It's pretty crazy. Makes short work of stuff. I mean, especially on that boss, because that boss is, you know, it's stuck in place, so it's not going anywhere. You can just wail on it. But if you don't have like a good balance with your ranged and melee, and say you're stronger in melee, that boss is difficult to get in close to, because they constantly shoot those slimes around, and you're going to be running around this area a lot. And then it puts up a fire shield around it as well. But if you got some strong range, then it makes short work of that boss.
The Arch-Illager's potion supply is no more, and it'll be a long time before the witches recover from this blow. Well done.
And that's the swamp. Let's see what I get in the chest here. Maybe it'll be another wind horn. Oh, look at that. Finally, a rare artifact. I've only had commons drop so far. This is the first time I've gotten a rare one. So what's the difference? Other than it's, I mean, obviously because it's a higher power, it's got a higher health healed, but I mean the seconds in cooldown doesn't change, so I'm not really, you know, it being rare, it's really no different than the commons, because if I had a 46 power common, it'd be the same thing. So normally when you have a rare, like these daggers here, has one set of enchantments that you can pick from. This one allows you to have 2. And it's not always the case with with rares too. I mean, sometimes a rare will just have the one enchantment. And I have not seen an item with 3 yet. But I'm sure it will in the higher powers and higher levels probably. I'll have to do some tinkering and configuring again. What kind of stinks is, you know, with this game, and well, with any game like this, Diablo style game, you're gonna like have a good combination of items and weapons that just are awesome and you really like, but then you're then they start to get low powered and you're like, it's a struggle to move on to something else. It's like, I really love my crossbow, and then, well, I gotta give it up eventually so I can get my power up for the higher level stuff, and I'll move on to this bow here eventually. It's kind of like when I had the harp, that harp crossbow. That thing was insane. And there's a chance for these to drop again. You just have to you just have to go to your mission select and go do the one that has that specific drop. So like high block halls, they have the crossbows, and the harp unique is a scatter version of the scatter crossbow, so it drops, most likely drops here, at least or it can drop here. I got mine out of the, I got mine from the blacksmith, which was actually the first unique I ever got from a blacksmith random. And let's see. Purple storm. Oh, there we go. Nice. Another unique. It's my second unique I've ever gotten from the blacksmith. These are okay too. They do shoot really fast. The purple storm. I've had it in the earlier. I've had it drop in earlier levels. Bonus shot is nice. I haven't messed with gravity yet. Maybe I'll have to do that on an item to test it out. Chain reaction. Not bad. Yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna have to spend some time to... Oh, look at this. Soul healer. Upgrade. Like my reinforced mail, I'm so reluctant to give it up because it does have the snowball enchantment on it, and this one does have it too. I just don't really care for what the second enchantment is. Chilling and food reserves. So sometimes I'll just hang on to an old set of armor just because of its enchantments. But I'll eventually give in and then upgrade. This is the Spelunker armor, which gives you that pet bat. I wonder if the bat will attack the dummy. I guess not. Alright, well that's Minecraft Dungeons, and so far it's pretty good. It's fun. I have to try and do multiplayer. I did do local multiplayer. The only downside to doing local is that you have to share the screen. You can't split up and do your own thing. So eventually I'll try to get the online portion working so that we can try that out. And hopefully you're not restricted to just the screen, the same screen as each other, even in online. But I haven't seen it yet, so... But yeah. Can't wait to try out the DLCs. They have the next realm here, so after you beat it, there's a little... Obviously it's going to segue, you know, into the next DLCs or expansions. But until then, I'll just keep chugging through and the levels and see what kind of cool stuff drops and what other kind of enchantments I come across. Alright, that'll be it. Later, peeps.